Good morning, James. How you doing?
Good, Howard. How are you?
Good. So, why don't you, first of all, for we've written about the makerspace before, but for those that may not know, or those stories were a while back, remind us what it is you do over there.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name's Jim Dillon. I'm co-founder of the Harvester Makerspace here at the Harvester Center with Tom Mancuso. And what the Harvester Makerspace was all about, or is all about, is a sharing of tools, ideas, and projects. It has also evolved into what is now also named the Batavia Tech Club, which is going to be an extension of technical learning at school and things like that. But what we do is projects, 3D printing, Arduino programming, small, whatever project somebody wants to do. Actually, somebody came in and made a new guard for their guitar, their electric guitar, not too long ago, and that worked out really well on our laser cutter. What started out as a simple curiosity turned into, right now, I'm talking about the face shields that we're making for COVID frontline heroes, I'm going to put it. About 3 weeks ago, I guess, my wife came down because I was working from home in the basement on actual painting work, and asked one of our friends had contacted her that works over at the Well Now Urgent Care, and they were in desperate need of some face shields. And I found the files online, produced by Persa, a 3D printer manufacturer, and downloaded the files real quick, came over to the shop and started printing out the first few that I could get off my printers and got them over there right away. And I found that the printing process took quite a long time, and there was a lot of what I call unnecessary features on that design. So what I did was, using the software that I normally use every day in my normal work, I redesigned the whole process and made it so I could print them in about a third of the time. And once that started happening, I started getting, and I posted a few things on Facebook for friends and people to see. And once that was seen, I started getting requests from dentists, the city fire department, nursing homes, you name it, and I'm helping them out. My good friend Travis actually posted for me that I was doing this all out of my own pocket, and he linked my PayPal account, and suddenly I started getting all sorts of donations to help me replenish my filament. And face shields, or the actual visors, were hard to come by, and I was ending up going to the dollar store and getting the report binders, the clear acetate ones, and cutting those on the laser cutter. They were a little matte finish, so they were not terribly clear, but they were working out well. And then my wife found over at Joann Fabrics some Cricut cutter acetate, and those worked wonderfully, but they were very expensive. And then we found a good stash of the laminator material, laminator pouches by 3M, and we bought a laminator machine, started running those through, and those work great. Perfect thickness, good clarity, and you can get a lot of them for relatively low money. And I had some friends actually source some for me on their adventures. One of my friends is a truck driver, and he was making delivery in Buffalo, found a stash over at the Walmart on Walden Avenue, and brought me 200 of them. Another friend found them over at our Target here in town and brought me 65, or actually 130 more, 2 packages. So I have plenty of visors, and I've, again, redesigned the head strap even this morning again, and shaved another 15 minutes off the print time to still get a very usable visor headband assembly without having to spend 2 hours to make one. So I'm very excited about how this is working out. I'm actually trying to build a backlog now that the fulfillment of all the requests I've had have come through where I've already delivered. I'm trying to get a backlog because I know there's going to be more coming with that. I don't think Genesee County has reached our peak yet.
How many have you made so far?
As of yesterday, I think it was 175 I delivered. And today I'll probably produce another 30 to 40 today.
And why was this project important to you?
Because there's something I could do, and it's something I'm good at, and I knew I could help. Did I jump right in when I first saw the first posts on social media about people making masks, or not masks, but the shields? I didn't jump right on it, partly because I didn't see a local need. The the Makerspace movement out in Rochester area. Dan Schneiderman is a good friend of mine. I've done the Maker Show over at the Convention Center a couple of years, and I knew he was making them, and I didn't quite reach out, but then when my wife came down and said we had an actual personal friend in need, I jumped right in, and that's when other things started to hit. Actually, the nursing home in Albion, the Villages, my dad was rehabbed there, and I was compelled to help them out. Medina Orchard Manor took care of my grandmother years ago. I was compelled to help them out. I'm going to help out anybody who can. I'm not asking for payment. I'm getting plenty of donations. Even Dr. Salmon over his practice needed some for emergency dental help, and I hooked him up just fine, and I was happy to do it.
So you also sent over a video that we're going to watch next. I believe it talks a little bit about the process. So why don't I'm going to cue that up.
Sure.
Hello, everybody. This is Jim Dillon. I know a lot of you are curious about how the face shield process goes. So I'm going to do a quick little video. It's going to be rough because I'm doing it all by myself. So stay with me and see how it works out. Thanks. First, we do the design on the 3D CAD. So this is done in Inventor, Autodesk software I've been working with all my career. Then, as you can see, here's the Command Central. And then, if we go out into the main shop, I take that design into the printing software. Let me make sure I switch to the right one here. Take that design to the printing software, and I open it, if I can drive and go at the same time. And there you can see in the printing software, there's the item, there's the headband. I do a thing called slicing, and what slicing does is it cuts it into many very thin layers so that then those layers can be translated to the 3D printer and printed one layer at a time, and it builds it up. It's called STL, or stereolithography format, and then it literally prints one layer at a time until it's done. This happens to be 59 layers thick at the settings I'm using. Higher resolutions would be more layers, and they're more a more finite or a prettier part. I don't care about pretty now. Here's the other printer working on the same part, just a different printer style. And then the last thing I do is I take a folder. In this case, I was able to find some travelers. Those of you in manufacturing know what a traveler is. It gets attached to a material or a part as it goes through the process. I just happened to cut the clear part off. Here you can see it. And then you take that, put it in the laser cutter. There you can see the pattern has been cut quite a few hundred times now. And then I go back to that computer over there, go into the laser software, open that file. Whoops, sorry. There you can kind of see the pattern. It's hard to see here, but when I go to cut it, now you'll be able to see I got to do some settings here to make sure it cuts correctly. There's the part, and it's ready to go. All I have to do is hit output, but it's a noisy laser, so I'm not going to do it for you right now. So that's the process. Then I got to bring them over here, clean the shields on my makeshift little cleaning pad here, and here you can see there's the visor. Then I stretch the visor onto the printed stubs on the 3D printed headbands, and then it's done. That's the process. Thank you guys very much for all the support I'm getting. Honestly, I couldn't do it without the support I was getting or have gotten now. I was getting low on resources, but now we're back up and running hard. Lots of orders coming in, lots of need. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Well, that's a fascinating process. Are those one size fits all, or do you make them to size? Or
No, they are one size fits all. As you can see from the video, that they clamp together really close at the the headband strap where it would clamp onto your head around near your ears, and that's fit everybody that we've delivered them to. It's not very pinchy, so I put a different infill pattern in than what's recommended because I knew that it would be less forceful on your head when it was clamped on. But it does have features on there for you to use an elastic strap or anything you would like to tie it in place, and that's obviously something that most people would want to do. But for occasional wear, it's got plenty of force to hold itself in place. Even the new ones that I've designed, which are even lighter and smaller for printing speed, still do the job just fine.
You may know better than me on this, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that the importance of face shields are particularly for those people working with people who may be infected, because it not just protects the respiratory system, it helps like keep any virus out of your eyes, it protects the whole face, and I understand that's the purpose. Is that correct?
It is correct, but it takes it to another step as well. We're finding, or what I'm being told by some of the people that use them, it also helps extend the life of the actual N95 masks that they're wearing, because it just less exposure, like you were just describing, to external, be it a cough or a sneeze or even somebody's the vapor from their breath getting on the outside of that mask is now a lot less, intrusive into that area. And so it is extending the life of the N95 masks, which are actually the most important part of the whole process.
Okay, I'm going to show the other video you sent over too now, and I think this is the one where you can kind of tell us what's going on. You're just showing us the machines, I believe, so let me get that going.
Sure. Okay, if it's the video I remember, it's like I'm panning from one machine to the next. It's just the literal printing process of what is called slicing. When you slice an object that you design in 3D, you slice it into very thin layers that are then literally printed one layer at a time. It's very similar to, like, if anybody's ever seen a pen plotter for drafting, it's the same idea. It's just that then the Z-axis moves down one layer, and then you just draw it over top again with the melted plastic. And layer after layer builds up until you build it to the thickness that you've designed it to.
So I think one of the fascinating things about your makerspace and everything is bringing to our community this really kind of revolutionary way of manufacturing, and I keep seeing articles about how this is changing. And just kind of an aside, a podcast I listened to recently talked about how 3D printing has revolutionized the hearing aid business, because they can be made so much cheaper and form fitted in a much faster process.
Correct. So you could do like a silicone mold into somebody's ear canal and then scan that with a 3D scanner and then reproduce that into a wearable device, and it would be, you could print it hollow so you could put the electronics right in. And a lot of people don't know that almost all hip replacements now are custom made on titanium 3D printers. Of course, that's a multi-$100,000 type machine, but it revolutionized it. It used to be a one-size-fits-all, well, a three-size-fits-all back in the day, and now it's literally they scan your joint and custom print that joint for you before implantation. Now, of course, there's still less expensive models that you can buy that are off the shelf, kind of the way to put it, but it is revolutionizing manufacturing. We can come up with a prototype of any design within hours rather than weeks or days in some cases. Now, of course, 3D printing allows you to do non-traditional manufacturing features that couldn't be produced on let's say, a multi-axis milling machine. But because of the speed of some 3D printers now, they are in production for what would normally be either an investment cast or an impossible to machine type of part.
Where would we be in the production of face masks face shields without 3D printing? It'd be a much more costly, time-consuming, labor-intensive process, wouldn't it?
Well, if you were to try to make them by hand, of course, but they're an injection molded type part, so they'll have a multi-cavity mold, probably 10 at a time, and they can produce them for pennies per part, simply because, but the mold's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars to produce. So if to do it on demand like we're doing now, There is no other way. There are some people that are coming up with very creative ways to make face shields. I found a picture online where a gentleman took just a regular pair of safety glasses, cut 2 holes in the acetate, put the arms of the safety glasses through it, and it literally worked. And it was very, very creative. I wish I could find that post real quick, but that was a quick makeshift face shield that somebody could make and wear over regular safety goggles if they had them.
Interesting. So I imagine with social distancing restrictions and everything, you're limited in what you can do as far as people coming there. But maybe discuss when we're past this time how people can get involved and if they want to learn more, come and see if it's something that they have a passion for.
Absolutely. And actually, I made a post of this early on in this process about how it's important. At the beginning of my career as a tradesman, I was a draftsman. I was a model maker. I'm one of the last people to receive a model making degree from GCC because I love to be an hands-on engineer to build and produce the things that I design to prove that they can be made. And I made a post earlier in this process saying how important it is that not just my kids, but kids throughout the community and even adults understand that you can make whatever you want. And I have the tools here to help people achieve those dreams. And if they wanted to, once this is all done and we're ready to get back to normal life, if they want to come and visit me, I'm in the Harvester building. I'm at the south end of the building by the tracks across from the entrance or the back entrance to Graham. And as you asked, how have I been delivering these without too much contact? Usually I'm the one that delivers them to the point of need. Like at the fire station, I met the chief outside and gave them to him. I was wearing my mask. I was making sure that I'd washed my hands prior to arriving, and then I also gave them advice to wash everything that I brought before they tried to use them. To the nurse that was delivering them to the nursing homes in Albion and Medina, she literally would leave the back door to her Jeep open. We wouldn't even come close to each other. I'd put them in her car. I'd close the door and she would leave. And she would clean them upon delivery to where she was taking them. So when the time is right and everybody's ready to come visit, I have pages on Facebook, Harverster Makerspace and Batavia Tech Club. Just give me a shout and I'd be happy to give anybody a tour. And actually, I did say that when this is all over, I'm going to have another giant open house to have everybody come and see what we do here.
That's great. Look forward to that, James. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, just thank you to everybody who's been giving me support. I've gotten many donations for helping me replace filament and buying face visors. And I'm also using that to replenish, obviously, like I said, filament. But one of my friends, Georgianne Karuba, as many people may know, lent me her 3D printer that we were using when we were developing her ostomy prototype. And that's been helping me crank out headbands as well.
That's great. It's good to hear. Great to hear about cooperation, too. It's a big part of business these days. So I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Howard. Have a good one.
You too.